Advaita Bhaktaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnanam Dhyane Gurave Namaha Madhurva Premadya Sri Rupanuga Bhaktida Sri Gaura Krishna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Sri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishorai Saksar Vairagya Murtaye Vipalamba Sambodhe Padambo Jayante Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodai Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Upanuga Varayate Gaurava Vibhava Bhumestvam Edusesha Priyam Vaishnava Sarvabhaumastri Jagannataya Te Namaha Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Viva Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratriste Namaha Panchatatvakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Namaste Jayatam Sudato Pangur Mama Mando Matir Gati Madhyapadam Bojo Radha Madanam Mohano Divya Rinda Vanya Lopa Drumada Sri Ratnagara Sanasto Sri Sri Radha Shiva Govinda Devo Kristali Bi Sevya Manav Smarami Sriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsivata Tatastita Karsambeno Gopi Gopinata Te Namaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasali Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So, just to give you a little falastuti, okay, yeah, this has the falastuti on it. Okay, I don't know how to work these things. Just go like this until I make another mistake. Okay. Electronics are not my forte. Okay, so where's the falastuti? It's here somewhere. Panihati. Now this particular pastime, Panihati, is a very important pastime of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and centered around Raghunath Das Goswami, who is one of the chief of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. There's a special variety of rice is called Panihati. Was imported at this place from Jessore to Bangladesh. The name Panihati has been derived from this connection. Once upon a time, this place was the center of worship of Buddhists. Have anybody been to the village of Panihati in India? Okay, one. Anybody else? Doing good. Did you perform the activities of Panihati by eating that wonderful pot prashadam? No? Okay, next time. Okay. So it was a former worship area by the Buddhist tantrics and the Kapalikas. When Lord Chaitanya appeared, he propagated the Sankirtan movement in that area, and it became the center of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Raghunath Das Goswami was the son of two very influential landowners, Jagadish Madhu Mahumadara and his brother Govardhan Majumadara. Okay. And they were tax collectors also. And they would make their money by collecting tax, and they would keep a portion of the tax as their salary. They were so rich that if you compared them to today, they would be considered to be billionaires, at least in that comparison. And Raghunath Das was the only son. He was their only son. And at one point, Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan party came through, and he became so attracted, Raghunath, to Lord Chaitanya that he wanted to immediately leave home and join Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan party. So he took the opportunity, and Lord Chaitanya, to come to Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya said, your parents are there, and you're the only son, and it is your duty to take care of your parents. So at a due course of time, you'll be able to join me. But for now, you stay home and you worship the Supreme Lord by chanting the holy name and take care of your parents. And so he reluctantly obeyed. He didn't want to do it because he was so attracted to join Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan party. But the Lord wouldn't allow it. So he obeyed the Lord, went back home, but his mind was always restless. Always restless. Always wanting to somehow or other go to see Lord Chaitanya, be with Lord Chaitanya. And his parents were noticing his restlessness, and sometimes he would sneak away. And so what they would do, they hired some guards, not only one guard, but 11 guards, to keep watch on him, because he would just go, and then they would find him and bring him back. Now, he was, of course, the son of these two landowners, and therefore he was very wealthy. And he had all the luxuries that come by having wealth, but he was not at all attracted to it, although it was practically all of his because he was the only son. But his heart, his mind, his desire was to simply become one of the servants in Lord Chaitanya's entourage. That was his desire. And so he would run away, and the guards would bring him back. And then he would take opportunities and run away. So this was going on regularly. And his parents were getting a little worried. What can we do? So what they do, they got him married. Good way to keep you in one place. At least not in today's society. Now when you get married, you got to travel this way and that way. You're in Charlotte, then you're in Boston, then you're in Detroit, then you're in Chicago, then you're in California. It's called work-related happiness. Something like that. Toronto. Sorry, I forgot to mention that place. And but they found this really, she was a goddess of fortune. She came from this, she was so beautiful and so chaste, so full of all good qualities. So they married Raghunath to this very highly qualified and very saintly lady. But still he would run away. Lord Chaitanya was more attractive to him. And so they were wondering what to do. Now he's got this beautiful wife and he's still restless. What to do? So his mother said, I think we should get some ropes to tie him down. Hare Krishna. Sounds like an Indian family. You can leave home when you're 75, not before. So he was, always going. So his mother said, we should tie him up with ropes. His father looked at his wife, his mother, and he looked at her like, what are you talking about? He has more wealth than Indra, and he has a wife that's the goddess of fortune. If these ropes don't tie him down, what will ordinary ropes do? So they couldn't do anything but simply keep watch on him. And one time he did escape, but then they found him and brought him. Many times, actually. So this time, he devised a plan to. What happened was they had this one Pujari who was worshiping their home deity, and there was also a head priest also. And so one day, the Pujari didn't show up for the duty, so the head priest had to come and do the work. And therefore, when Raghunath Das found out that, he said to the head priest, I have to go on a little errand, because head priest was also watching, but I'll be right back. And this was in the middle of the night, so the guards were near, really less attentive. And so when he would run away, he would take the normal trails, but this time he went through the forest, so no one could follow him. And he was destined to go see Lord and to be with Lord Chaitanya. So he wound up in an area which is called Panihati on his travels, and Lord Nityananda happened to be there, along with many of his associates. So I'll read a few of the verses that describe what happened when he appeared in Panihati when Lord Nityananda was there. Sitting on a rock under a tree on the banks of the Ganga, Lord Nityananda seemed as effulgence as hundreds and thousands of rising suns. Many devotees sat on the ground surrounding him. Seeing the influence of Nityananda, because Raghunath Das Goswami didn't approach Nityananda, he saw from a distance. He was a little either shy or scared to approach Lord Nityananda. And Raghunath Das Goswami was astonished when he saw the effulgence coming from the body of Nityananda. Raghunath Das offered his obeisances by falling prostrate at a distant place. The servant of Nityananda pointed out, "There's Raghunath, offering you obeisances, my lord." Hearing this, Lord Nityananda said, and he spoke to Raghunath from a distance, "You are a thief." Hare Krishna. "Now you have come to see me. Come here, today I shall punish you." Haribol. You don't think you're going to get that kind of mercy, special. The Lord called him, but Raghunath Das didn't go near the Lord. Then the Lord forcibly caught him and placed his lotus feet upon the head of Raghunath. Wow. I mean, how many lives did it take to get that mercy? Lord Nityananda was by nature very merciful and very funny. He was always doing things that were funny. Being merciful, he spoke to Raghunath Das as follows: "You are just a thief, for instead of coming near, you stay in a distant place. Now I have captured you, and I shall punish you. Make a festival and feed all of my associates yogurt and chip rice." Hearing this, Raghunath Das was greatly pleased. So that was the punishment. Because he had taken some gold coins with him for travel, but he didn't use it for travel. So now he had some money, Lakshmi, And the Lord knew it. So he said, now use that and make a festival for me and my devotees. And he told them what kind of festival, chip rice. Immediately, Raghunath immediately sent some of his own men to the village to purchase all kinds of edibles and bring them back. So what did they purchase? They brought chip rice. You know what chip rice is? Everybody knows what chip rice is. It's not poha. Poha? Poha is something like chip rice, but it's not exactly chip rice. Chip rice is a little more cruder than poha. Poha is nice. Chip rice is like, it's not so easy to cook. And brought chip rice, yogurt, milk, sweetmeats, sugar, bananas. I hope you got all these things here. Yeah, okay. And other eatables. And he placed them all around. As soon as they heard that the festival was going on to be held, all kinds of brahmanas from the area and other gentlemen began to run. Thus there were innumerable, uncountable number of people. Seeing the crowd increasing, Raghunath Das Goswami arranged for more edibles from other villages. He also brought 200 to 400 large round earthen pots. These are not the small like this, big ones. 400. Now this is happening right on the bank of the Ganga now. There was no room for everybody on the bank, so some of the persons were standing in the water up to their waist. He also obtained 5 and 7 especially large earthen pots. In these pots, a Brahmana began soaking chip rice for the satisfaction of Lord Nityananda. Everything is meant for the pleasure of the Lord. So, in one place, chip rice was soaked in hot milk in each of the large pots. Then half the rice was mixed with yogurt, sugar, and bananas. Indian bananas. Whoa. American bananas. Ooh. I only eat bananas in India. I'm prejudiced. And they're sweet. Here you wonder, well, maybe the monkeys ate them first and then they sell them. Hare Krishna. The other half was mixed with condensed milk and a special type of banana called kala. Anybody know that banana? Champa kala? No? It's a kind of banana. Sugar, clarified butter, and camphor were added to one pot. And then, after Lord Nityananda had changed his cloth for a new one, he sat on a raised platform. The Brahmanas brought him the 7 huge pots. Along with Lord Nityananda, on that platform sat other many important men, and they all sat in a circle, sitting around Lord Nityananda. Everyone's getting ready for this big Mahotsava. Among them, in the names of these personalities, Ramadas, Sundarananda, Gadadhar Das, Murari, Kamalakara, Sadashiva, and Purandara. These are some Lord Nityananda's Gopals. Lord Chaitanya's, most of his entourage were gopis who appeared in male form to assist him in his pastimes. And Lord Nityananda's pastimes, his associates were all sakas, or gopals, cowherd boys. So you see these two rasas were mixing together. And these are some of the names of Lord Nityananda's associates. Again, more. Dhananjaya, Jagadish, Parameshwara, Mahesh, Goridas, and Hoda Krishnadas are also there. Similarly, Udarana Datta Thakur, Srila Prabhupada has connections with the family of Udarananda Thakur. If you do a little research, you'll find that his family line comes from that cowherd boy who was an associate of Lord Nityananda. Many other personal associates sat there also and sat on the platform with no one, and no one could count how many people were there. Hearing about the festival, all kinds of scholars, Brahmins and priests went there. Lord Nityananda Prabhu honored them and then made them sit on the raised platform with him. So you can imagine how crowded it was getting. Was offered 2 earthen pots. Now this is how you do it. In one pot was chipped rice with condensed milk, and the other was chipped rice with yogurt. But you always put sugar in both. Hare Krishna. Not jaggery. Or not stevia either. Chipped rice. There's nothing to forget about the health programs. Just sugar. Okay. All other people sat in groups around the platform. No one could count how many devotees came. Each and every one of them must supply 2 pots. One of chipped rice soaked in yogurt, and the other chipped rice soaked in condensed milk. And there was also saffron. That's also mentioned. We performed this pastime in New Vrindavan when I was a cook in New Vrindavan back in the 1970s. In our brahmachari ashram. And we put camphor in one of them, and I think in the other one we put in saffron. I don't know if we cheated or not, but we did it. I think it's also mentioned somewhere else you could do that. So, yeah. This is the most joyful pastime. Jagpataka Maharaj loves to do this pastime. I would watch him. He would go to Atlanta, Georgia, and he would get up like really early in the morning and run into the kitchen. And then he would organize the whole cooking, and he would also cook himself, and then he would set up all of the pots. And he'd be there the whole day. And after it was all done, he'd come out with all the pots, and then he would sell them. And that's how he raised money for the temple. Okay, so others couldn't even find a place. Even on the bank of the Ganges, they got down into the water and began eating their 2 kinds of shipped rice, even while they were standing in the water with their pots. Sounds like the old days in New Vrindavan. We had everything never worked right. But anyway, this is transcendental. Thus, some sat on the platform, some sat on the base of the platform, some sat on the banks of the Ganges, and they were all supplied 2 pots, each by 20 men who distributed the food. Wow. Now this is a real amazing festival. At that time, Raghunath Pandit arrived there. Seeing the situation, he began to laugh in great surprise, because he lives in that area, Raghunath Pandit. He brought many kinds of food cooked in ghee and offered to the Lord, this prasadam. He first placed at the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, then distributed amongst the devotees. Raghunath Pandit said to Nityananda, "For you, sir, I have already offered food to the deity. For you are engaged in a festival here, and so much food untouched." Him and his wife, what was his wife's name? Damayanti, yeah, they were famous. They would cook, and Lord Chaitanya would immediately eat whatever they cooked. He loved their prasadam. Damayanti and many of the preparations that Damayanti used to make. Jamuna, Prabhupada's disciple Jamuna, she made that cookbook. What was it called? Krishna Cuisine? Something like that. And she copied a lot of those recipes. And many of the preparations were mixed with Ganges mud. They would make sweets out of mixing with Ganges mud. Doesn't sound very extractive, does it? But Ganges mud is transcendental, so if you eat that, even if you die, you go back to Godhead. And it's not suicide either. It's a festival. Okay. Okay. So, he's saying, I've cooked so much, but what am I going to do with it? Lord Nityananda replied, let me eat all this food here during the day, and I shall eat at your home at night. Sometimes they say, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda used to eat too much. And all his devotees are also criticized like that. So if you are actually a true follower of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, you have to eat a lot. Prabhupada said there's 3 ways you can determine whether you're full up to here, and you're full up to here, and then if you're full up to here, you're full. There's one story. I heard the story from Radha Govinda Maharaj, great soul, born in Vrindavan. So he was telling this little joke. I think it was a joke. So he said one man, he went to a feast, and he ate so much. He was just eating every day. And he got so full he couldn't even walk. His eyes were circling his head. He was just dizzy with prashadam. So, and he felt, I gotta go see a doctor. Oh. So he went. And he went to the doctor, told the doctor, can you give me something? I'm sick. The doctor said, no problem. So he came with a pill. He said, you take this pill. He said, are you giving me that? If I had more room, I'd take another glove journal. Maharaj ki jai. You won't understand that one anyway. I'll explain it to you later. And then Lord Nityananda spoke. He said, I belong to a community of cowherd boys, and therefore I generally have many cowherd associates with me. I am happy when we eat together in a picnic like this by the sandy bank of the river. Lord Nityananda made Raghava Pandit sit down and had 2 pots delivered to him also. There were 2 kinds of chip rice soaked in them, not just one, 2 kinds. Now, there's a very mystical pastime that comes up during this whole Leela. When chip rice had been brought and served to everyone, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, in his meditation, brought Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there. But did he bring him there? No one could see Lord Chaitanya. Only, it says, only it describes it here. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived, Lord Nityananda stood up. They then saw how others were enjoying the chip rice with yogurt and condensed milk. From each and every pot, Lord Nityananda Prabhu took one morsel of chip rice and pushed it into the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a joke. So, Lord Nityananda is very playful. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, also smiling, took a morsel of food and pushed it into the mouth of Nityananda and laughed as he made Lord Nityananda eat. Now you have to perform this pastime with each other. You just have to kind of like find that person who doesn't want it, and then this pastime is not like any other pastime. It's completely, it's just fun. It's all it is. It's just some In this way, Lord Nityananda was walking through all the group of eaters, and all the Vaishnavas standing there were seeing the fun. I'll be watching as you do it. The ladies will probably do it, the men will be too shy. No one could understand what Nityananda was doing as he walked about. Some, however, were very fortunate, could see that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also present. Only a few could actually see. These were more elevated Vaishnavas. Not everyone could see that Lord Chaitanya was there. But Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya were responding. All they could see was Lord Nityananda. They were wondering, what is he doing? Then Lord Nityananda Prabhu smiled and sat down. On his right side he kept 4 pots of chip rice that had not been made from boiled paddy. What's paddy? Who knows? With the outside covering on the rice.
On the rice and outside husk.
So you can't eat that, can you? You can't eat the patty. Made from boiled patty. Something's happening. Lord Nityananda offered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a place and had him sit down. Then together the 2 brothers began eating chip rice. Seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eating with Nityananda, Lord Nityananda became very happy and exhibited varieties of ecstatic love. Okay. Lord Nityananda Prabhu ordered, all of you eat, chanting the holy names, Hari! 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 Immediately the holy names of Hari! Hari! Resounded throughout the entire universe. When all the Vaishnavas were chanting the holy names of Hari! 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 And eating, they remembered how Krishna and Balaram ate with their companions, the cowherd boys, on the banks of the Jamuna. So Brajendra Nandanaye, Sachi Sutta, Hoilo Se, Balaram, Hoilo Nitai. Same persons come again. And they're doing the same thing, eating. No rice and dal. No pav bhaji. No bel puri. Only chip rice. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda are extremely merciful and liberal. It was Raghunath Das Gos's fortune that they accepted all of these dealings. Okay. Who can understand the influence and mercy of Lord Nityananda? He is so powerful that he induced Lord Sri Chaitanya to come and eat chip rice on the banks of the Ganga. So the Lord was attracted just to Nityananda. All the confidential devotees who were cowherd boys, headed by Ramadas, were absorbed in ecstatic love. They thought the banks of the Ganges to become just like the banks of the Jamuna. Hare Krishna. When the shopkeepers of many other villages heard about the festival, they arrived there to sell chip rice, yogurt, sweetmeats, and bananas. Ah, here comes the Vaishyas. Or should I say the Gujaratis? Hare Krishna. Sorry. As they came bringing all kinds of food, Raghunath Das purchased it all. He gave them the price for their goods, and later he fed them with the same food that they brought. Anyone who came to see how these funny things were going on was also fed chip rice, yogurt, and bananas. So even people were coming and watching, and they would automatically get fed just by being there. Lord Nityananda wanted to make sure everyone was fed. After Lord Nityananda Prabhu finished eating, he washed his hands and mouth and gave Raghunath Das the food remaining in the 4 pots. So he got special mercy by getting the remnants of Nityananda. See, this pastime illustrates a very fundamental philosophical principle, or you might say a philosophical principle that is set in Vaishnava protocol. Before you can get the mercy of the Lord, you have to get the mercy of the Lord's devotee, the spiritual master. And Lord Chaitanya is in the role of the Lord, but Lord Nityananda is in the role of the spiritual master. So Raghunath Das Goswami first approached Lord Nityananda and getting the blessings, permission, then he was free to go on and to associate and become one of the intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya, only by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. So when we get the mercy of our spiritual master, mercy of Srila Prabhupada, mercy of our spiritual master, then, only then can we actually approach the Lord in devotion. So how do you get that mercy? What pleases the spiritual master the most?
The progress of devotee.
That's a good one. Obviously that's pleasing to see the devotee making progress. That's why the spiritual master is there. What's another one?
Devotees reciprocate with each other.
Devotees reciprocating with each other in a mood of cooperation and love, trust. Yes, what else? When Prabhupada was in Atlanta, Georgia, he was there and he was talking, and book distributors had come all over America to see Prabhupada. And the temple was buzzing. In other words, the energy was so high, people were just electrified just for being there with all these book distributors and Prabhupada. The energy was so strong. And then Prabhupada gave this Sunday feast program. And then he called for questions, which he hardly never does. Prabhupada used to give a lecture and just end. But this time he called for questions. And one question was, Srila Prabhupada, what pleases you most? And the devotee who was saying it was thinking, he's going to say, distribute my books. You know, when you think you know the mind of the spiritual master, you don't. He'll always do something different. You don't know the mind of the spiritual master, so don't play that role. So this question was, you might say, a loaded question. But Prabhupada answered in a beautiful way. He said, what pleases the spiritual master the most? If you love Krishna. Well, in other words, we should serve Krishna in the mood of loving Krishna. Even though we may not have love for Krishna, still we can offer love to Krishna. And that will help us to develop love for Krishna. The loving mood brings one into love. So in that way, Prabhupada was showing us what is the most important thing. He came to teach us or to help us come to the point of loving Krishna. Yeah. So. There was food remaining in 3 other big pots of Lord Nityananda, and the Brahmins distributed it to all the devotees, giving each one morsel. That's how many people there were. Then a Brahmin brought a flower garland, placed the garland on Lord Nityananda's neck, and smeared pulp all over his body, sandalwood pulp. Sandalwood pulp is very cooling, and then when it's hot, Prabhupada would always like to be massaged with sandalwood oil when it was hot. But he would also use sandalwood pulp to put it on different places on the body. But, yeah, especially on the head. sometimes they say, chill out. So you don't have to worry about chill out, just put some sandalwood pulp on. And you can be really cool. You'll be a very cool person. Hey, that person's cool. Okay, so sandalwood. Sandalwood was such a commodity that I remember going in India, I was trying to buy sandalwood oil, and I couldn't find it anywhere. But when you found it, it was so expensive. Really expensive. Now I think they manufacture it in a more, they kind of mix it, and so it's not pure sandalwood oil, or even sandalwood pulp. It's very difficult to get. But now it's kind of mixed in with other, I think, sesame oil, maybe, or something like that. When a servant brought betel nuts and offered them to Lord Nityananda, the Lord smiled and chewed them. With his own hands, Lord Nityananda Prabhu distributed to all the devotees whatever flower garlands, sandalwood pulp, and betel nuts remained. So the Lord is very merciful. After receiving them, the remnants of food left by Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunath Das, who was greatly happy, ate some and distributed the rest among his own associates. Thus, I have described the pastimes of Lord Nityananda Prabhu in relationship to the celebrated festival of chipped rice and yogurt. Then it goes on to say, Lord Nityananda rested for the day, and when the day ended, he went to the temple of Raghunath Pandit and began congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Lord Nityananda influenced all the devotees to dance. We did that last night. It wasn't easy. I had to get some of these personalities to realize that that's what the body is supposed to be used for, to dance. Not simply for walking and sleeping, but dancing. But we were successful last night, right? Those of you who were at the program, yeah, there was people who were bouncing around who haven't bounced in years.
We have more open space now.
You have what?
We have much more space now. We can dance now.
Okay, yeah. You can go up and down the trees, you can dance. Ram Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda's associates were doing that. When Lord Nityananda was giving a kirtan, were so ecstatic, they were running up the side of the trees, running out to the branches, dancing on the twigs, and the twigs were not breaking. Yeah, that's coming up next pastime. And so this is Lord Chaitanya first influenced all of them to dance, and finally himself began dancing, thus inundating the entire world with ecstatic. Can you imagine seeing Lord Nityananda dance? Wow, that would be, like something you could pray for, just to see Lord Nityananda dance. He's called Nitai Nataraj, King of all dancers. Lord Sri Chaitanya was observing the dancing of Lord Nityananda. Nityananda could see this, but the others could not. The dancing of Lord Nityananda, like the dancing of Lord Chaitanya, cannot be compared to anything in the three worlds. You can't imagine what it's like. If you see it, then you have the experience. It cannot be described. No one can properly describe the sweetness of Lord Nityananda's dancing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally came to see it. Okay. After the dancing, and after Lord Nityananda had rested, Raghunath Pandit submitted his request that the Lord take supper. And then he goes on to explain how Lord Nityananda sat with all his disciples, and they all enjoyed a very good feast cooked by Raghunath Pandit and his wife, Devi. So it goes on here. Should I read more? Now here's the best part. There were varieties of cakes, sweet rice, ooh, and fine cooked rice that surpassed the taste of nectar. There were also vegetables such as the food prepared and offered to the deity by Raghunath Pandit was like the essence of nectar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there again and again to eat such prasadam. When Raghunath Pandit offered the food to the deity after cooking, he would make a separate offering for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord would eat at the house of Raghunath Pandit. Sometimes he would give Raghunath Pandit the opportunity to see him. He would appear and disappear like that. So it goes on describing the feeding pastimes and how they distributed this and enjoyed taking prasadam. Just like in our every day we sing before we take prasadam, we sing the prasadam song. But how many of you know the second half of the prasadam song? There's two parts to that. And then all it talks about is the joy that the devotees experience when they're taking prasadam. Ekdina Shanti Pore, going to the home of Advaitacharya and taking prasadam there. So the second half describes the happiness of taking prasadam at Shantipur in the home of Sri Advaita Acharya. That's the whole prayer by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We sing the first part. It says here that there were so many presentations, indeed of the fact that the Supreme Mother, Radharani herself, personally cooked in the house of Raghunath Pandit. Okay, here. Srimati Radharani received from Durvasa Muni the benediction that whatever she cooked would be sweeter than nectar. That is the special feature of her cooking. She wasn't a Gujarati who's putting sugar in everything. Sorry about that. But anyway, it was simply by her cooking. And when Yasoda, Mother Yasoda, found out how wonderful Radharani's cooking was, she asked Radharani, "You cook every day for my Lau, for my son, Krishna." And every day she would come from Yadvat, she would walk, and she would be in an euphoric mood thinking she's going to cook for Krishna. And then she would cook for Krishna. And then Mother Yasoda would conduct the cooking, and Radharani would do, and she would make so many nice, this is for Krishna's breakfast. Krishna ate a big breakfast. Really big breakfast. So one time, and sometimes Krishna he'd sneak near the kitchen and he'd look in and watch Radharani cooking, and when she would look his way, he'd jump back the other way so she couldn't see him. So one time, she made these special sweets, and she was thinking Krishna's going to really like these. So then it was time for breakfast, and they served out breakfast. And so when it came to the sweets, Radharani was kind of watching to see how much Krishna was going to enjoy her sweets. So what Krishna did, he took the sweet, he put it in his mouth, and he went, yeah. And he took it, and he gave it to his cowherd friend next to it. And he ate it, and he said, so Krishna did that so he could give it away. Actually, it was transcendentally what we say. But he did that just to pass it on to his friends. And Radharani was looking, oh, he doesn't like it. But then she saw it wasn't like that. So yeah, she would cook. And actually, she would cook in the evening too. Krishna would eat a big breakfast, and then he would go out with his cows and cowherd boys and stay in the fields all day. During the noontime, he would meet Radharani in a secret place, and they would play. He would go on swings, they would splash in the water, and they would perform many of their pastimes. And then after sometimes Krishna would go back with his cowherd friends, and then in the evening he would come back, and Radharani would leave before then, and she would go to her place and start cooking again for Krishna. And she was always anxious, when is Krishna coming back? And he would come back in the evening, and then she would prepare again in the evening. And this time Krishna would leave a lot of remnants, so Radharani, who asked her Gopi friends, you take this prasadam to Krishna, special. And they would deliver it, and Krishna would think, all right, okay. And he would taste it, and he would leave it for the gopis, and then Radharani would get the mercy also. So Krishna ate in the morning, in the afternoon. He never ate lunch. Sounds good? I really like that, because lunches are so big. And after lunch, all you want to do is Nidra yoga, you know. Yes.
Wasn't Krishna eating lunch with his friends when Brahma came to seal the... Wasn't Krishna eating lunch with his friends when Brahma came and stole all the calves and cows, cowherd boys?
They mentions they were on the bank of the Jamuna. But in the ISKCON Leela, 8 parts of the day where Krishna performed different activities, there's no mention where he's eating lunch. Unless, when he went, after seeing Radharani in the noontime, when he went back with the cowherd boys, he could have ate at that time, but it doesn't mention it in the ISKCON Leela. So, but it does mention, you're right, it says that when he would leave in the morning, his mother would prepare lunch, and he would carry a lunch pail. So, he did both. Prabhupada said, happiness in Krishna consciousness is to look into Krishna's lunch pail and see what Mother Yasoda prepared for him for lunch. That's happiness. So Prabhupada gave us a little indication of this move. Yeah. And they, they would sit, and Krishna would be in the center, and everybody would be looking at Krishna, and they would be sharing their lunch together. And they would taste each other's lunch. But they always knew Krishna had the best lunch, so sometimes they would steal his lunch. And Krishna would say, hey, why are you stealing my lunch? Oh, you get all the nice stuff, we want some. So it was like that. Okay, there you go, Panihati. Yes, is that, you're saying you want to give me a watch? I don't want any watches. He wants to give me the watch. I can take, what else can you offer me besides a watch?
Can I offer myself?
Huh?
Can I offer myself?
Okay. Where's Shamagori? She's not here. So you have to get her permission first. Okay, so we should move on and get to the actual essence of this whole festival. So thank you very much for coming, and as we say, have fun. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Bhagavatas Swami ki jai, Gaur Premanande.
Candramauli Swami Maharaj ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Shardet Bhaktagananda ki jai.
That mic's off. It's off. Playing basketball. Turn on her mic, please. Roji, can you turn on her mic?
Hare Krishna, everyone, sit down. Our program is not end.
We have a special request for a special activity. So that before all of this offering of the transcendental pots, we want to do Harinam Sankirtan.
Everybody, please join us. We will leave the kirtan, we'll go to the park. In the meantime, they will set up the next activity here.
Oh, okay.
So all the Mudanga players, Kasal players, please come out.
You want this?
They thought you were doing, but I don't think I will be with you. So you just have to make it interactive to get more motivate people to.
So what are the different tricks? I forgot.
Yeah. Maharaj, more than 12 to 15 preparation different types. Mexican salt, Italian. I know you are restriction today, but one
Just need to do along with that. Rosie, who handles this?
Okay, all the Mudanga players, Kasal players, this side.
take some pictures. No, you cannot send it, but you can take. So, the thing is, first to tell them that the most important part of this is getting this spot and distributing the Vaishnava. Correct. Over the maximum mercy. Now we are going to do.
So we can do.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, do this very nice pots, big pots, nice prasadam. We need more thing for temple. That is in your hand.
Yeah, go with.
You have to cheer up the people. That's it.
No, the one way is you can start with big or start with small. Depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Big they thought like it's big price.
Yeah.
Small price, big price.
So start with small with 151 whatever. You see
We have to practice like many times if we have to do that.
Very nice place. Very nice place.
No, we have done already once. Right?
प्रभु जी सगळे नाही घेतले
The other crane.
Did you see करतालिया?
Finally, they found that Satyananda Prabhu.
प्रभु जी that's what I just whatever.
That he stays in different communities. So we don't pay 1 rupee.
This is Union County.
No, Union Council, but they're giving it free only for the people who are staying in the front. So he is like the front apartment housing.
Acha, acha.
So we paid 120, but it's also we should go next time.
This is there is another shelter.
You want to do it? Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Yeah. Like this?
इधर घूम
Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Krishna Krishna
Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare Hare
Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Krishna 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Yadavaya, Madhavaya, Kesavaya Namaha. Yadavaya, Madhavaya, Kesavaya Namaha. Vimuddhadundadam, Vimadhusudan. Gopal Govindaram, Vimadhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Shiyadvata Chittanta Shiyadvata Sita. Shiyadvata Nityananda Shiyadvata Sita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Gita. Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Uparatana Bhattaraguna. Uparatana Bhattaraguna. Hari 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 Bol.
हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की
Jai.
प्रभुपाद की
Just so, could y'all in the back even hear me? I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yeah.
You must have a mic, buddy.
Yeah, I can barely hear.
I think we need a battery operated mic also.
I think,
You have something.
Prabhu, we have auction now. Everybody has to go to the auction. What auction? Prabhu, let's go there. Auction. Yeah, we'll get it. Maharaj will finish guys. Tell them to go there. Go there. We are
Nitai Gauranga, Nitai, Nitai, Nitai
ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಮಂತ್ರದಾನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆದಾಗ ಅವರತ್ತಿ ನಾವು
ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಚೈತನ್ಯ
ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ
ಅಥರ್ವ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಚೈತನ್ಯ
ಟು ಆರತಿ
Harmonium. Where is it?
Government hold on the for some time.
Radha Krishna chasing this small, big, medium car. That's the last one.
দয়া করো মোরে শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য দয়া করো মোরে শ্রী কৃষ্ণ প্রভু দয়া করো তোমা বিনা কে দয়ালো জগৎ সংসারে তোমা বিনা কে দয়ালো জগৎ সংসারে অতীত পাবন হেতু তব অতীত পাবন হেতু তব অবতার পিতা প্রভু ন পাইবে
Krishna.